Simpson-Wolf on the left, playing the aforementioned mono red deck against Joshua Vitullo. He is playing, he's bumping it up. He's got the Bump in the Night, Joe Bernal inspired Zombies deck.
Yeah, and the funny thing about this Zombies list, and I've kind of, before we saw this mono red list, you know, I'm looking at this black red Zombies list, and it's like, in a way, it is the mono red list.
Yes.
Right? I mean, it is the mono red archetype, I guess, in the format right now, with basically like a bunch of 2-power dudes that try to attack and burn, right? I mean, isn't that mono red?
Worse, like better creatures, worse mana.
Right.
Because he's playing black creatures. Josh on 5 cards, so he's behind the 8 ball here.
And Anders going to potentially be able to capitalize on that, being such a fast, aggressive deck. He leads with Stromkirk Noble. Nice turn 1 play.
All right, Josh has a couple red cards in his hand. He's got a Blood Crypt, so he's taking that aforementioned damage to get his cards out, and he's just going to pillar that. So that's one of his better things. But Anders' deck is actually very, very creature heavy. It's so creature heavy, in fact, that he could justify 3 copies of Mog Flunkies in his deck.
Wow, yeah. Not a card you see.
If you have Mog Flunkies in your deck, you mean it.
Stromkirk Noble number 2 for Anders. Passes back to Josh, who has no play. Besides a land.
He has a Searing Spear in his hand, so that's coming to town in a little bit. And Anders has some cards that can't really not really familiar with by just the picture. Oh, he's taking a point from this Noble. I find that very interesting.
I don't think it's that big of a deal, because I think, you know, he can, and that's the Unleashed
Gorehouse Chainwalker.
Yeah.
Duh.
And he's going to use the Searing Spear on that.
Yeah.
So.
It is a 2/1. Yeah, there we go. 2/1 Unleash.
Right. So it would have been a 3-power dude, and so the Searing Spear much better used on that guy.
All right, and Anders gets the message.
Giralf's Messenger from Josh.
Takes 2, falls to 18.
Anders looks for a miracle on top.
No miracle. I believe he finds the Pillar Flame, so
that's pretty good. That's actually better than a bonfire, I think, at this point.
Yeah.
He does not actually play bonfire, but it was funny how I don't think there are any miracles in this deck, but it was interesting that he looked as if he was playing it.
Ash Zealot comes down, joins the party. Anders attacks for 4 before
using Pillar Flame on the ground.
Its preferred target.
Yeah, there's Ash Zealot, a 2/2 for red, first strike haste. So you saw it swinging in right away there. Whenever a player casts a spell from a graveyard, Ash Zealot deals 3 damage to that player. That's big game.
So I don't want to root for one player or the other, but you know what you know how I hope this game ends?
How's that?
I hope this game ends with Josh casting a Bump in the Night from the graveyard, taking 3, but it not mattering, and Anders dying to the flashback Bump in the Night. Alright, so this Brimstone Volley, last opportunity to kill that Stromkirk Noble without Morbid.
So Brimstone Volley takes out Stromkirk Noble. We have Ash Zealot left on Anders' side of the board, does 2 to Josh. And,
Anders showing some discipline there. He has a Brimstone Volley in his hand. Decided not to rock it for Morbid.
And there we have 2 Blood Artists.
So it's like either the best card or the worst card Josh could have right now, depending on your perspective. In terms of dealing with these creatures Anders is playing, it's the worst card. But assuming he can find some blockers or something along those lines, yeah, that doesn't block very well. So he's going to need something a little more blocking friendly. Although, like, if he's just not dead by the time these cards get in. What's this? This is a Hell Rider.
He's taking Josh on a hell ride.
So the triggers take Josh to 6, and he's forced to block. So very, very good draw from Anders right there.
Yeah, Hellrider. I think Chapin said hits like a bag of trucks. I think that was a quote.
Bag of trucks, eh? Like toy trucks?
No, I think
semi-truck. That's a really big bag.
Yeah, it's a big bag of trucks.
All right, so we got a jump block from Hellrider.
It's like a demon riding a demon. Like it's like a piggyback ride, demon back ride. I guess is that the.
All right, so Josh is going to
nickname
temporarily
review?
fall to 3, and then Blood Artist will bring him back up to 5, I believe, if I can do elementary math.
It's tough.
It is tough. Now we got the ever-important blocker on Drell's Messenger.
Yeah, he's going to scoop it up.
Not enough. I think if he has 2 Blood Artists, he's still there. He's in okay shape.
Yeah, but he had to block there, so.
Yeah.
Anders Simpson capitalizes on Josh's slow start, or,
yeah.
5 starting hand of 5. 2-card mulligan, 5-card mulligan, however you want to call it. He mulled to 5.
I'm actually interested in, I don't know which deck I like more in this matchup.
Yeah,
do I want the consistent 20-land mono-red deck with inferior cards?
Right.
Or do I want the deck that has it all?
It's power versus consistency, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of what this is. We've got Josh with the power and Anders with the consistency. And in that case, Anders was able to capitalize on the fact that Josh's list was not as consistent. He had to mulligan to 5. He, didn't have the cards that he needed. So,
going to sideboard, Anders has my Peter Johnson's favorite card, Forge Devil. So shout out to Peter Johnson.
So what does Forge Devil do?
Forge Devil is a 1-mana 1/1. When it comes into play, you deal 1 to yourself and 1 to a creature. So
no,
it's
that's
the
right.
best. Yeah,
I remember now.
Has fantastic art.
Yeah, looks like the devil is, kind of rubbing his hands together,
getting
excited. Another card I'd like to see in here, not that it's, well, I mean, it actually could come into play here, is Electrickery. It's a kind of interesting card from Return to Ravnica, and it costs 1 mana. And it deals 1 damage to target creature you don't control. So it's very gut-shotty, but it can overload for a red and 1, and of course deal 1 to their team.
Each creature.
Yeah. So I mean, when you're facing down a deck that plays like a lot of X1s, which Joshua is, even if those grave crawlers come back, it's nice to clear them out of the way. It is at instant speed, right? It's going to save you some life and potentially clear them out of the way if you need to swing in. So, just 1 copy of that. I'd like to see that.
Right, Joshua has a little bit for the matchup, but not a ton. He has 2 Flames of the Firebrand, which is completely insane in this matchup, and then 2 Tragic Slips. So I imagine those will come in. He for sure has 2 Knight of Infamies that can come out.
Yeah, not doing much in this match.
Right, and then depending on how aggressive or defensive he wants to be, he can take out, 2 Falconwrath Aristocrats, 2 Gravecrawlers, 2 Bump in the Knights. Although I do think Bump in the Night should stay in.
Yeah, I mean,
at least on the play.
I'll
probably take out the Aristocrats. They're a little heavy for what he wants to do.
Yeah.
The other card he could take out would be Rakdos Cackler. But I'm pretty sure Rakdos, the ability to occasionally leash a Cackler would allow, to block.
Right, just in case, right.
Even just as a 1/1, like Gravecrawler never has that ability. Even
exactly.
And they'll both hit at the same pace. So
yeah, I think
interesting that Anders also has Flames of the Firebrand in his deck. So a Flames of the Firebrand mirror match.
Yeah,
the match might actually be decided by who draws more. And Anders has 3, and Joshua only has 2. So
it's a really interesting matchup. Like, just 2 really similar decks. Just trying to use burn to clear the way or end the game.
Right. Yeah, one of them's going with the basically accepted zombie plan with the best creatures.
Right. What so one of the interesting things that has come up because my friend Big Head Joe, he likes mono red a lot, but the thing that he keeps lamenting is the fact that there are/were no players can't gain life effects in standard.
Okay.
You know, like he's like, I'm playing. You know, there's all these players. There's all this life gain. There's, you know, this is before Return to Ravnica. But he was saying, you know, we have timely reinforcements, and then, you know, Thragtusk comes out, and there's nothing saying players can't gain life. There's
nothing to give them back. Yeah, there's all these life gain
Worm
cards.
Coil Engine and all this stuff. And he's like, there's nothing for the red players to play. And of course, we Return to Ravnica brought us like a 6-mana black-red enchantment that does it. It's like
a completely
that's
unplayable
I
one.
may as well not be that kind of effect.
Yeah, here's a bone to throw to like all the players that just complain about this stuff,
right,
and not actually solving the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, so we've seen cards like that before. The players can't gain life, and I'm kind of surprised to not see that kind of thing around. You know, in such a long time in a way. But anyway, Joshua leads on Swamp, Diregraph Ghoul, and Anders has turn 1 Rakdos Cackler.
So one thing that's interesting about Joshua's deck, a little deviation from Joe Bernal's deck, he just cut three red sources. He's down to 10. Have you know he's only on 2 Rakdos Guild Gates?
Mm-hmm.
So the possibility of Joshua being stranded without red sources is much higher.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because Joe even went so far as to play a mountain in his sideboard.
Cackler gets in, and then Cackler number 2 comes down for Anders, and then Cackler number 3. So, yeah.
Cackle away, my friends.
Yeah, there's a lot of laughter happening on Anders'
One time sever
sideboard.
the bloodline.
Yeah, seriously. It's like, where's Detention Sphere?
So here's a Guild Gate for Josh. Might have actually preferred to play that over the Blood Artist last turn. Given that I don't think he has a play for this turn. He has an Olivia, a Brimstone Volley. A Cavern of Souls. And one card I can't make.
It's another.
Oh, that's a Blood Crypt. Blood Crypt and
a lot of the land. I thought it was a Blood Crypt, and you said Guild Gate, and I'm like, oh, I guess it's a Guild Gate, you know?
That's Flames of the Firebrand.
Oh, very nice.
That'll do some work.
Yeah.
So, you have an interesting thing if you want to pass there and risk an instant speed burn spell from Anders. Because if Anders just sends his guys, you're going to Brimstone Volley one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And if Anders burns the Blood Artist in response, you miss out on a trigger. But on the other hand, if Anders plays like an upgraded card like a Shred Freak or a Ashes Zealot, then which I actually think, yeah, that's a Shred Freak, I believe.
There we have Mizium Mortars on. Oh, I'm sorry, Brimstone Volley, not Mizium Mortars.
Yeah, Mizium Mortars is.
I was thinking Volley and said Mortars.
All right, so it's going to deal 3 effectively. I'd have liked to see a Searing Spear on the Blood Artist in response, but instead we just have a post-combat Ashes Zealot.
And there's a Dragon Skull Summit off the top for Joshua.
Yeah, that's an excellent draw for him.
Yeah, because now he's got access to Olivia. And
it's actually not that great of a draw, because he had a Cavern of Souls.
Oh, I couldn't see the Cavern, okay.
That's still fine. I still think he's going to slam Olivia here. Can't imagine him doing anything else. But that's going to eat a Searing Spear.
Well, he's thinking about it. He knows, obviously, that Anders has probably just got the burn for it, but in a way, you almost need to play it just to get the burn, you know, just that extra bit of burn out of Anders' hand.
And what are you going to do? Wait for it? Not cast anything? Like, cast a...
Right, you're not going to do anything here? Just
right. Apparently he's going to go with the Arc Trail.
Yeah, Arc Lightning, right?
Yeah, but as
functioning as Arc Trail. That's true, yeah.
So after
takes out the Ash Zealot.
Yeah, the Blood Artist triggers again.
And it passes back.
And Joshua was saying holding the ghoul back a turn after attacking with it. Oh, this is a good draw for Anders. Not only does Pillar Flame remove the blocker, could remove the blocker, but this does so without triggering Blood Artist.
Yeah, so Pillar of Flame takes out the ghoul, exiling it, and Pillar of Flame number 2 takes out the Blood Artist. Didn't see that one either. Anders exiles Josh's board and swings in with 2 Rakdos Cacklers. So
classic red deck. Play a small guy and then burn your guy. All right, so a 6th land for Josh. He's got the Cavern still in his hand.
I suppose here comes Olivia, who's going to eat a Searing Sphere, and then Josh is going to get hit again. Because she can't even, at this point,
Right, and the thing is like, Josh is in a no-win situation. Because if he doesn't play it, the Searing Spear just goes to, both of them just go to the face.
Yeah. And there go the Cacklers. In again.
Cackling away.
And that's it. All flooded out, says Joshua.
So still had all these. Anders showing a little still had all these.
Well, I think he's showing him that I Searing Spear you and attack you and you're dead.
Okay, if he's just like, should I wait it on Olivia? Yeah.
Yeah, he was just kind of saying, like, I had what I needed to kill you this turn. So Anders Simpson capitalizing.
In a change of pace, we get a match over in
16 minutes?
Yeah, lightning quick time. So I would imagine that we're getting another camera on match somewhat. Another camera on match, or maybe another match on camera. Yeah. Maybe. Let's go for one of those. So yeah, I mean, I'm impressed. Anders Simpson-Wolf now 5-0 here in Providence, and tried and true red deck strategy. Yeah. So, where are you Azorius players? This is SCGPROV. Yeah, for real. Are you going to defend your turf?